Hey, welcome to I Don't Like Some of It. This is a bunch of rejected tunes from the album You Won't Like All of It. There's various reasons for the rejects, and I just thought you might be interested in them. So we're going to start off with two tracks which really triggered me even making the album. These are both versions of Dark Things. Now, originally with the track Dark Things, I wanted to make a tune where the bass lines and the noises kept switching as it went along. The final version didn't end up doing that, but here is the first version of it. I'd actually used this on one of my podcasts. It had a big weird vocal in it, which I got from somewhere, which I may well reuse. But I couldn't seem to make the track come together around any sort of cohesive point, so have a listen to this, and that's all I have to say about that first one. This is Dark Things Reject Mix 1.
And this music sounds like pure Hollywood entertainment. It sounds like E.T. on a horse being chased by Darth Vader.
What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean?
There are, of course, things I liked about that version of it. I like the way all the beats were edited up, and obviously I used some of the sounds and samples, but it was just one of those things where structurally I couldn't make it come together. Okay, moving on. This is the second version of Dark Things. Certain elements were added to this mix. You can hear the strange sort of almost sad string noise at the beginning, and the structure is a little bit more reasonable, but it's breakbeat instead of kick drum, and I was trying to do a very edited and hectic breakbeat. You'll also notice an added stab noise that isn't in the final version of the track. Again, this one I was working with it, but it just felt wrong. I couldn't seem to hold all the pieces together, and I was just getting more and more down on it, and I knew that there was essentially a good idea wrapped around the aggressive noise that I'd created using the Nord Rack 2, so I definitely wanted to use it. In the end, I decided I wanted to make it a more banging kick drum tune, and so after I finished this version, I scrapped the breakbeats and just kept the sounds that I liked, and decided to stop messing around trying to do heavily edited bass noises because there was no flow to it. So this is Dark Things Reject Mix 2.
know things, dark things, dark things.
I realise, of course, there's a certain risk to doing this. Some of you will listen to these snippets and outtakes and say, oh, I wish he had finished that track, that's better than what he ended up with. And that may be the case, but I've found when making a tune you have to reach the point where you are happy with it personally. It doesn't matter if other people think the first version is better or not. I mean, it does kind of matter, but most important is that you can finish the track because you're happy with it. I say that because this next version I'm going to play you is the original version of Pulse Rate Rising. And in some ways the bass line is better, although it's obviously unfinished and this track is only not even a minute long, I don't think. But I thought I'd show you it. Pulse Rate Rising was my first attempt to do a serious, heavy dubstep tune. I kind of did a dubstep tune with Sesame Street, but that was accidental almost. It came together. I made that because it was the most inappropriate remix I could think of Sesame Street, and that amused me. This was more an attempt to do a serious dubstep tune. I much prefer the final version that came out, obviously. There was nothing wrong with this, but I made this version and I was like, no, not really feeling it, let's move on. After a minute or so I just stopped it, and yeah, so have a listen to this. This next track doesn't even have a title. It's a bit of a weird one actually. It came together because I found if I did piano in a rhythm that didn't actually make a 4/4 rhythm, it sounded really good once I put the kick drum under it. You'll understand better when you listen to it. About midway through this snippet you'll hear what I mean. I didn't explain that very well, but this was one of those situations where I was just messing around really and just trying to find out what I could do and what I couldn't do. I don't know why I didn't finish this one. I think maybe because it was just boring. Like when the main riff comes in, I was like, well, that's good enough, but it just sounds like all those other trancey sort of hardcore tunes. And I just lost interest in it. That happens sometimes. It's not a question of how good the track is, it's a question of how interested I am in it. And as years have gone by, it's been much harder to be interested in tracks because I've made so many of them. So some of these got rejected just because I found them boring to make. And this is one of those. So have a listen. Okay, this next one is called Rusty Spoons. I'm actually quite annoyed that I didn't finish this, but each time I loaded it up I would mess around for 3 or 4 hours and get absolutely nowhere. I don't know what was stopping me or why I couldn't get anywhere with it. My guess is that the beginning is so mellow and sort of soft sounding, and then when it drops in it's really heavy, but it just didn't seem to gel right together. But even now, listening to it, I'm thinking, should I even put this on here, because I might want to finish it one day. And maybe I will, and if I do, I'll give it away to all the people that bought the album. You'll just get a little notification, here, download this. The Rusty Spoons sample comes from a very peculiar animated cartoon thing on YouTube, introduced to me by my friend Nick, so yeah, you should watch that. It's very odd, banging on about salad fingers and stuff and wanting to stroke rusty items. Very odd. But the actual track I'm pretty happy with. I just couldn't finish it. No matter what I did, it just wouldn't come together. So in the end I gave up. So this is Rusty Spoons.
The feeling of rust against my salad fingers is almost orgasmic.
This next one is very similar to Rusty Spoons in that I wanted to finish it, and I think it's got the potential to be a good track, and yet I just couldn't seem to get it to go where I wanted it to go. I think part of the problem was I was trying to make a jungly sort of track, and part of it is amusing because I've got that strange sample from Father Ted talking about Hitler and jungle music, which made me laugh a great deal, but maybe isn't so appropriate. I kind of figured this would be similar to Bertie's tune, which sampled the Incredible Hulk and also had jungle stuff in it. You know, that's a nice sort of a weird mix. You can be a bit amusing with jungle and get away with it. But again, no matter what I did with this track, it just didn't come together. In the very last few bars, you'll hear some ragga samples that I put on it. I had more of that, but that wasn't working with the beats, and then the beats weren't working with the samples, and it just became one of those uphill missions, and eventually I gave up. I find as I've got older, there's only so many attempts I can make at a track before I just quit. I'm much more fastidious about what I want things to sound like and how I want them to go. So I'm not willing to waste too much time on a tune. And both Rusty Spoons and this, I must have spent a good week on each time, and eventually just said, you know what, I might as well get on with something else. This is wasting my time. But it's a shame because it's a good track, I think. Just couldn't get it finished.
Not a very nice man, is he? God, Ted, I've never met anyone like him anyway. Who would he be like? Hitler or one of those mad fellas? Oh, worse than Hitler. You wouldn't find Hitler playing jungle music at 3 o'clock in the morning. You wouldn't find Hitler playing jungle music. Worse than Hitler.
You'll notice that most of these tracks I didn't finish are breakbeat orientated tunes, and also the fact that the main released album is majority kick drum, or if it's breakbeat it's not hardcore speed breakbeat. I'm having real trouble making breakbeat hardcore at the moment. I don't know why, probably because I've made so much of it and I'm just interested in exploring different avenues. It's probably the worst time to do it because I've got a feeling that breakbeat hardcore is going to be the thing that kicks off next in the hardcore scene. But you can only do what you're feeling, and I wasn't feeling it. And all of these tracks were attempts to make breakbeat hardcore or jungle that just didn't come out because my heart wasn't in it as much as it should have been. Having said that, this tune is called The Machine, and I am likely to still finish it. And if I do, again, I will send it to everybody who bought the album. It'll be just like a bonus track. You won't have to pay for it or anything. Anyway, so yeah, this track's called The Machine because I've always liked industrial machine-like noises. So yeah, this is what this is based on, trying to make a machine-sounding thing. most of it is good. I particularly like the intro. When it drops in, I was struggling again with the bass line and where it needed to go. And so, like the 2 previous tracks, Rusty Spoons and Hitler Jungle, I just got bored and fed up and frustrated and stopped. So, yeah, if I finish it, you'll know about it. And that's that. Well, that's the last of them for now. There are a couple of other tracks that I haven't finished. If people really like this, me telling you why I haven't finished tracks, then maybe I will do another thing and put it on the Night Force forum. There's also a couple of tracks which I may finish and give away to those that have bought the album, because they're half done and they're good and they've got potential. We will see about that. Obviously the EQ and the mastering on these ones that you've heard is fairly crappy. A lot of it wasn't finished, a lot of it didn't get the sound effects, well, all of it wasn't finished. But yeah, so thanks for listening, and thank you very much for buying the album directly from me. I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different executive edition bonus thingamajiggy, and I'll leave you with that. See you soon, bye!